In this morning's Business Insight, we're talking cheap beer. A study by the investment website TheStreet.com ranked the beer for sale at Paul Brown Stadium in a tie for the 6th cheapest beer in the NFL. It listed the Bengals and 7 other teams as offering a 12-ounce beer for $5. Now, if you do the math, that comes to 42 cents an ounce. Business Courier reporter Steve Watkins, though, dug a little deeper into this story and found that they were looking at last year's prices. This year, the Bengals are selling 14-ounce draft beers for $5, so that's just 36 cents an ounce. And that would give the Bengals the 3rd cheapest beer prices in the NFL, barely behind the Miami Dolphins and New Orleans Saints. Now, each of those teams sells beer for 35 cents an ounce. And speaking of affordable beer, Wiedemann's Special Lager has found new life and is one of the lowest priced local craft beers on the market. Former Business Courier reporter John Newberry relaunched the George Wiedemann Brewing Company last year, about 30 years after the original facility in Newport was shut down and demolished. Newberry and his wife Betsy have partnered with the Listerman Brewing Company to create a new recipe for the brand, Wiedemann's Special Lager. He joins Business Watch producer Kelly Leon in the studio with more on his new business for an old Cincinnati name.
Thanks, Peg. John, welcome back.
Hey, thanks. It's good to be back.
You used to be here talking about important business things going on, and now we're talking about beer.
Well, this is very important.
This is very important
to a lot of people. So
why did you do this? You and your wife Betsy revived the Wiedemann name. A lot of people in Cincinnati know this name, know this beer. How'd this happen?
Sure. Well, it happened because I used to cover beer, and I found out through my reporting on the beer industry locally that the Wiedemann brand had been abandoned, essentially. They dropped the trademark on it, and I talked to a trademark lawyer and asked him how hard would it be to get that and bring it back, and it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up.
Yeah, and so we've got a shot of it here now. It's a Bohemian-style Pilsner is what it is here. We are seeing a lot of craft beers coming back to life. Greg Hardman with Hudipole.
Sure, sure.
Is this something that's happening just here in Cincinnati, or is this something that's happening all over the country?
No, it's really happening all over the country. There's a lot of old legacy beers with a lot of heritage behind them that people are bringing back. Beer has always been something that people really attach themselves to. Everybody has their favorite beer and remembers what their dad drank and what their grandfather drank and things like that. So there's a lot of emotional attachment to beers, and I think that's why.
And certainly you're right with Wiedemann. I mean, I remember this as a kid, and it was cheap beer. You don't want me to call it cheap beer, though, right?
Well, it wasn't cheap. It has got a reputation in more recent years as a cheap beer, but Wiedemann was always known as a very affordable beer, a good value. Back in its heyday in the 60s and 70s, I mean, it was just a great beer. It was well marketed, high quality beer, and that's kind of what we're trying to restore.
So how are you marketing it now? How can people get a Wiedemann beer? Where can we buy it?
Well, in a few weeks you'll be able to buy it at almost any Kroger store in the Cincinnati, Dayton, Northern Kentucky area. We're finally getting into Kroger, so you can get it there. You can get it at Party Source. You can get it at lots of places, Jungle Gyms, all the big beer stores, and fine restaurants and bars all over town.
And what does it go for a 6-pack? How much?
It goes for $7.50, $6–7 in that range.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah. It's it's a little lower price than than a lot of the craft beers, and that's kind of by design. We like to give people good value, give them a craft quality beer at a good price. I think that's always been kind of Wiedemann's selling point.
All right. Well, we wish you well with this. I want to give credit to our director, Todd. He was excited about this story and wanted us to get it on the air. So if you think we're just a business show, just covering boring topics, we proved you wrong this morning, right?
Sure.